Let's take a deep breath to start off the Edgar Snowden the second hour. I'm going to take a deep breath. Om. Is it a puzzle or a mystery? How it is? What's going on? Is it good news or bad? Are you doing what you're supposed to do, my perfect audience? Are you one of the 36 perfect audience? I'm looking for 36 good animus and anima for anime. Because this is just the beginning, this Be Live. Never mind, be live. Believe. You gotta believe, you gotta get arrested sometimes. The Whole Foods plan, the scent on your handkerchief, at least that. Chalk it up. Chalk on my cleats, Michael Hayden said, post 9/11, about what he was gonna do in terms of skirting the law, the outskirts of the law. It's raining out. I got here just before that. Otherwise, I'd look more bedraggled than I do. I was at Starbucks today, just sitting minding my own business, reading a program about what happens to stowaways on the high seas. In the New York Times front page article about how they forage fish, and who does that fishing, and how it gets outsourced, and how there ain't no labor laws on the high seas. It was heartbreaking, and I could hardly hold in my inner rage at the outrage of how the terrorist corporate community deals with people shanghaied, press ganged onto the sea. But anyway, I was sitting reading that article about how stowaways were walking the plank on the high seas, when suddenly this white brother walks in and says, "Give me quarters, give me quarters." He was talking loud. He was an order of magnitude above the usual din and roar of Starbucks. Even with my earplugs in, I could hear him. And then the barista replied. I don't actually know what the barista replied. She said it in a normal voice, which I couldn't hear. But I did hear my white brother friend say at that point, "Open the cash register." He was pretty peremptory. He was pretty angry. And everybody, there must have been 6 or 8 or 9 people between the 3 baristas and the 6 people waiting in line for their daily caffeination. We all froze. Who knew what was happening? Who knows? It sounded, well, I couldn't say what it sounded like, but there was silence and everyone frozen in their place. Time kind of stopped for a moment. And then, must have been 5 seconds. I gotta say, it seemed like 5 minutes, but it must have been closer to 5 seconds when my white brother friend, Y chromosome type A, he looks at the barista and he says, "I'm never gonna shop here again," and walks out in a huff. It was kind of anticlimactic. Wasn't a robbery or nothing. And in retrospect, although at the time all I could feel was that kind of vibration of fear, it's a kind of bullet in the brain kind of fear. Am I in a situation here? Am I market day in Gombe? Is this Boston strong Boko Haram? What is happening here? Or is this Gaza with the IDF flying over? I was a little traumatized, but once I talked to my friend Sharon, because she happened to call just after that moment, and I ran down the story, and I was thinking it was a little funny. My white brother saying to me, saying to all us that he wasn't going to shop there again, and I truly hope he doesn't, because he scared the pants off of me. It was a little scary. And you begin to think, you begin to wonder, and I was thinking about how grateful I was that I was in this air-conditioned Starbucks on this hot and humid day. There was kind of a respite and a refuge there, with coffee and free refills, because I got my card. I got my card. And it's happening. It's really happening. And after I had my 2 cups of coffee, actually I had 3 today, truth be told, although don't let my Habibi know, because she knows that after 2 I get a little out of hand sometimes. And I had to wait for a moment before I could finish the article, and then after that read about Hillary Clinton and how they're going after her for her emails, and how that might backfire if they do it wrong. Like the Rick, what's his name, who ran for senator against Hillary and waved his finger at her, and all the women in New York voted against him, or at least a lot of them did. Enough to get Hillary elected senator of New York before she got to be Secretary of State, and before the Clinton Foundation and its $300 million a year budget, and its work in Haiti, wherein it's built absolutely no permanent housing. With all that money, all those donations, remember Haiti and those donations? Syria and those donations? The Clinton Foundations in all those places, I'm guessing. And then there's Jeb Bush and all them people worrying about whether Donald Trump says John McCain, Mav McCain, as we used to know him when he was running for president. Herbie for president is what I say. In our Herbal administration, we'll do restorative justice. And we won't be swift voting that Trump-tastic John McCain of the Keating Five, who sold out the San Carlos Apache's holy spot mountain to Rio Tinto. I'm taking a deep breath, because you think about engaging the rage. You gotta engage it, because it happens every day. You open up that newspaper and there's something to be outraged about. And inside out, you do your best. At least that's what I tell myself. Chalk it up. Chalk it up. What if, I ask myself, what if you was less afraid? If you didn't live on Erie Street? with all them other people who's so lucky to live in that big building, 150 Erie, and all my perfect audience from Erie Street, I salute you. Thanks for watching. I got some avid listeners and viewers in my very own building. Sometimes I have to wear my sunglasses around there just to keep from signing autographs. But never mind, that's what happens. That's what happens in the Celebrity Citizens United world we live in, with LeBron and Beyonce and Destiny's Child. You wonder, straight up you wonder, it's all falsified, the narrative, the Bubba Maisa, about how Medicare, you can't afford Medicare. Jeb Bush says he wants to put Medicare on vouchers. That'd be the beginning of the end. Like Social Security, private savings accounts, it ain't gonna work. And I'm probably of the last generation that's gonna have the kind of housing I have, and I'm lucky to have it. And I'm grateful. When I slow down, feel the feelings, the feeling that's deepest is grateful. It's just dumb luck. Schwarze, please. Habibi, beschert. Above and beyond the call of duty and booty. I have what I need, and I know that. That's Inca. Gate, gate, paragate, parasamgate, bodhi swaha, ha, ha. You take a deep breath and Om. 3 times. And I'm thinking of my white brother at Starbucks and how mad he was. I wonder what was really bothering him. Sometimes I wonder what really bothers me when I get that rage feeling. Inside out it goes. You kick the dog, you yell at people who shouldn't be yelled at. Habibi, beschert. You and your non-negotiable demands for 24/7 electricity, hot water on demand. I got it all. 20 years from now, that won't be happening. It's all going to happen, the great I thing tithing, the great decimation that happens at peak population. I'm predicting that'll be around 2040. 9.9 billion people on the planet. And then in the next 20 years, 2040 to 2060, mark my words to market, it'll be the first great decimation. 9.9 million to billion to 0.99 billion. That's the first great decimation. That's when the seas start to rise big time from 2040 to 2060. That's when I believe there may be an accident at Indian Point and all those fracking pipes and their blast radiuses. There's going to be an accident at Diablo Canyon or Indian Point. Those GE Mark I nuclear reactors and all that spent pool fuel. And us 36, we're practicing intention and intuition. We're improvising, we're inspiring where we can, ourselves at least. Inside you, babe, is copacetic, Habibi, beschert, schwarze, please, dayenu, capiche? You wonder how it's all gonna turn out. It don't look good, I got to say. With 2020 hypo hindsight, you might have predicted a Coke 1% master narrative official story that turns out in a worst case scenario. We're after the second great tithing, 2060 to 2075. The second great tithing. And by then, everything be real different. And the 50th anniversary of Woodstock will be just a vague memory, as will my commencement speech at the Harvard 50th reunion that I go to in 2018. Given the commencement speech, at least in my own head, I'm holding out for valedictorian. It's a vestigial valedictorian. It's a Venn diagrammed, virtual vector space, and a vortex. You circle around the stupa clockwise, chanting Om Namah Shivaya, Gurave, Gate, Gate, Paragate, Parasamgate, Bodhi Swaha. Time slows down when you touch the reality underneath. The quantum jitter reality, the quark gluon plasma that supports the Higgs ether and phlogiston, and the up quarks and the anti-up quarks and the charm quarks, and the reds and the blues and the greens, the mesons and the pi mesons and the muons and the gluons and the mesons, all the baryons and the hadrons, they all somehow come together to make us, to make the neural networks that will disappear with us eukaryotic semi-sapients. We're a ghost species, even as we speak. And this is the epilogue for the time capsule. It's in linear B. It's in the vernacular, which is Yibonics. It's a pidgin Creole. It's a patois of patriots and patriarchy. It's an epignosis. But we get it, us 36. We get it, and we got your back. It all falls into place. The pebble strikes the bamboo. You put her down on the other side. And I could look through. We will have witnessed the greasy grass, Little Bighorn and the Big Bighorn, and the Custer Citizens United. Georgie, Georgie, where are you? I get it, and I got your back. Happy birthday, Georgie. Happy 70th. 70. We're all in the Abe Lincoln Brigade now. And we're fighting for what's right. And Donald Trump said John McCain wasn't a war hero or a maverick. And the outrage that arose among the Republicans, oh boy, you'd wish that that same outrage arose when they swift-boated Johnny Kerry. You remember Johnny Kerry of the great Iran Compromise. Bomb, bomb Iran, McCain sang when he ran against Johnny Kerry. We're all waiting with bated breath, holding our baby braided breath for the results of the Deflategate, democracy promotion, Goodlegate, Raj Goodle. Got your Raj and got your back. I read TPP. Inca is the antidote. Revelatory orgasmic reality, tantric orgasmic reality, in a tantric, ahimsic, akashic, artistic, synesthetic, shamanistic sangha. That's where the last refugia is. Okie dokie. Ah, delicious. There's a Gulgan humor, a gallows humor that we're reaching for. We, the witnesses of the war, where? And it's Droneado, Sharknado, shelter in place, Boston strong. You take a deep breath and you wonder if you'll be filtered through the pheromones of fossil fuel. It all happens just like that in the Hansen transition, trance. There's a transformation happening, an urban legend about white justice, about Sandra Bland and how she committed suicide. How could she commit suicide? I don't understand. I just don't. And she was put to jail, 5,000 bail for changing lanes. Me, I change lanes all the time. And I expect white justice for white males. And I get it. I'm grateful, I got to say. And in our herbal administration, when it's Herbie for president, I'm going to see that everybody gets white justice. Everybody gets a banks to bail out, because after all, everybody makes mistakes and grants liar loans in a subprime market. And John Paulson and his abacus, they all making money. Steve Cohen at SAC, he ain't in jail. It's only Madoff, really. His son killed himself. I wonder how he feels about that. And then there's Goldman Sachs and Ted Diamond and his twin in their bromance. His twin Jamie. I knew Ted. Ted was as much of a jerk, still is probably, as his brother Jamie. I don't know Jamie, but he seems like a jerk. And Lloyd Blankfein and all them banksters who expect their entitlement to be bailed out if their bets go off in the public-private partnership that bails Goldman Sachs and AIG. But you and me, we get bupkis, makas, garnished. We live in a coke caliphate, and the 1% rule. There's a Occupy. They bash them occupiers, but they don't bash them banksters. And they got them informants like Ronald Reagan. Ronald Reagan in SAG. He was the president, but he was squealing. He was ratting people out to J. Edgar in Hooverville, and the COINTELPRO PRISM and its risk assessment. What's the threat? It's